Welcome to Progress in San Diego. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm your host, Walter Davis. And this evening we are honored to have members of the Occupy movement, Occupy San Diego. To my immediate right here we have Chris McKay, and welcome to the show.
Welcome,
Chris.
Walter. Thanks for having us.
And also William Johnson.
Thanks for having us.
Wonderful. I'm so happy you guys could make it out. And so there are a lot of questions about the Occupy movement. I see the mainstream media, they appear to be making it out like your message is not very clear, or our message is not very clear. And it seems to me that the American people should be having a very clear message in terms of what's wrong in this country. We've just had people's houses taken away from them in a massive foreclosure. We've got a very small percentage of people in this world controlling most of the wealth. We have people that are being denied health care insurance, even when the technology is available to save their lives. We have more than 32,000 children dying in this world every single day. We have people that are starving in this country. We have people, birth levels, defect levels that are that of third world countries for some populations here in the United States. We have massive numbers of people being incarcerated, more than any other country in the world, according to some recent reports. 1 out of every 99 Americans is being locked up. We don't have democracy. We have elected officials who are not responsible to the American people. They're being paid by bankers to do their bidding. We have laws that are being passed that are not germane to liberty, to the American people, in terms of the Patriot Act. We have people going to fight wars in countries where it doesn't make sense. We're spending our treasure on wars instead of spending our treasure on building our country. Our education system is falling behind. So with all of these things, they have the temerity to say that the Occupy movement is not articulating their message clearly. How does that make you feel?
Me personally, it makes me feel, it makes me laugh at the mass media because our message is very clear. We want corporate greed out of American politics. We want to restore the economic equality in America. We want to finish off where Dr. Martin Luther King left off and finish there. We even had the Tea Party here in San Diego came out, and the first time they came out, they said the exact same thing. We don't understand your message. Who are you? What are you? You guys are just nothing but a bunch of dirty hippies. Go get a bath and maybe you'll get a job. Well, 2 weeks later, they came out and they said, we understand why you're here. You're here because those big banks right there got bailed out $850 billion, and nobody in America got anything out of it except for those big banks. And we agree with you. We agree with you and that statement. So it was kind of like the Tea Party in 2 weeks got the message. I don't know why the mass media cannot get the message yet. Well, they're part of the 1%. That could be part of the reason why, but that seems to be the problem with Occupy right now is the mass media is trying to make it so we are obsolete. We just had Occupy Congress happen. On the 17th, we had 3,000 to 5,000 people in D.C. occupying Congress. They occupied the steps of the Supreme Court, which is totally illegal. Nobody got arrested because of the numbers and because of the positiveness of the Occupy movement. But the mass media also, did anybody hear anything about it on the news? No. It was a major event going on in American history, and nobody in the mass media talked about it. That's why our message isn't getting out there. The mass media refuses to talk about it. They just want to ignore us and think we'll go away. But we're not going away yet.
Understood.
Not only that, though, we do have a very, very clear statement of purpose. We have the Declaration of Occupy Wall Street, which lists virtually everything that you just mentioned. It is the reason why we came together in the first place. Because the richest 1% in America do own close to 40% of all the wealth in the United States. I've heard 38%, 42%, 40%, somewhere in there. But nevertheless, that's something that's clear cut. You can understand, and they continue to just extract the wealth from the lower 99%, as we dubbed it. The terms 1% and 99% are very, very new. That's something that Occupy Wall Street created, and it's become very, very commonplace in just the American dialogue, sort of replacing the concept of the haves and have-nots as well. We do have a clear message, and you just need to actually listen to it, listen for it, because what we're talking about is present, ever present in American society. You just need to open your eyes to see it.
Exactly. And so what we need to consider is that an executive that makes $5 million a year is making $13,000 per day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now think about that. And I just saw some things that had young performers like Justin Bieber and others that were worth $90 million and more. And so that's ridiculous that someone would have that amount of wealth, yet we have children on the street, sleeping on the street. We have elderly people who can't get medical treatment. We have people with cancer who can't get treatment. If you get breast cancer, a lady or a man can get breast cancer too, that's $28,000 a month to get treatment for that. That's ridiculous.
In America, that's totally ridiculous that the healthcare industry's gone to the way it's going. I don't understand how anyone could say that healthcare is not a human right, especially when we're supposed to be the best country in the world, quote, best country in the world. Our healthcare industry needs to really look at how the poverty is on the rise, and the healthcare industry is causing Americans to be the most bankrupt. Most bankruptcies in America are caused because of healthcare problems now. When you're having healthcare cause bankruptcy in America, you really have to address the issue. Otherwise, your whole economic system is going to collapse because of it. And just sitting on their hands in D.C. and doing nothing about it for the number of years that we have been. I mean, I remember talking about healthcare with Bill Clinton. Me being 44, Clinton was one of the first ones that I really started listening to at the age where I got to understand politics. And they were talking about it back with Hillary Clinton, was going around trying to get it passed then. And it didn't pass, and we didn't hear anything about it again for years and years and years. 2 terms of presidents went by, and nobody talked about it. And then Obama started talking about it, and I mean, I voted for the guy and everything, but what happened to our single payer that we were promised? Where'd that go? Because of Obama, I'm sitting on the concrete down at the Civic Center in San Diego protesting because a lot of promises were made, and we were told we were going to get the change we were supposed to be getting. And I mean, if they won't give us the change, we're going to demand the change and create the change ourselves. We'll change the world to become what it should be. And healthcare is it's the tip of the iceberg on that. I mean, there's little spots on every bit of it. And yeah, healthcare is one of the main issues. We do have the nurses union has already come down to endorse the occupation. And they were actually, you do have some of the nurses union that were arrested at the first raid there.
Wow.
Yeah, wonderful women too.
I want to give William an opportunity to say something. I see you over there just burning up, and then I want you to answer what the Occupy movement has done positive.
So we can't forget though that it's not necessarily the Justin Biebers of the world that are the issue. It's the Lloyd Blankfeins, the CEO of
the people that
Goldman
write
Sachs.
the check for Justin Bieber.
Essentially,
Okay.
Those are the guys who truly can control the economy. They're the ones making the backroom deals with the politicians and the rest of their cronies. So we're not upset specifically at the rich. We're upset at the rich and powerful,
The wealthy.
yeah, because they're the ones who, with their money, they control the they just control the mass media. They control how we talk to each other. They control nearly every aspect of our lives, or they're reaching in some way. I mean, wherever you look, there are these corporations around, and we're subject to them. I mean, my phone is made by Verizon, which is Vodafone, which is in Germany, and I mean, these guys are global too. We can't forget that. But as far as what to go back into your question, what things Occupy has done that are very, very positive, it's that we've one of the things is we've changed the dialect of America. I already mentioned the 99% and the 1% aspect of it, but we're looking at wealth disparity differently. We're looking at the poor differently. We're looking at the homeless differently. We're looking at community service differently. Like, I mean, it goes back historically too. I mean, even before the healthcare fights of Clinton, these issues were brought up by Jimmy Carter, by Lyndon Johnson, by Franklin, Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm recently graduated from UCSD. I was at Eleanor Roosevelt College, so we learned all about human rights and global citizenship. That was human rights are one of the sort of major reasons why I'm here personally. But I'll go back to the topic of what we've done positive. As far as the banks go that we talk about so much, we've been telling people to take their money out of these banks and transfer them to credit unions, local, community, cooperative businesses where the profits go directly back to the people. How it's essentially how banking is supposed to work. The banks aren't supposed to be making a profit off the depositors. They're supposed to be making profit off of the loans that they give out. So all these fees and everything is just one more way that they extract the wealth from the poorest of us. So I just read yesterday that Bank of America, their the rate of people with taking their business somewhere else has increased by 20% just in the past month or so.
Good.
So that's something big. We're not just trying to do a top-down effect to changing the banking system. We're doing bottom-up, which is very, very important as well. So not only changing some of the banking and the lexicon of American dialogue, we've also one of the things that Occupy and specifically is doing is we feed the homeless. The homeless honestly make up, or we actually we've started calling them the houseless. We feel it's more politically correct because the home, or there's the city of San Diego here is their home. That's what they call home. They just don't have a house or an apartment. But that's a side topic. We must have given out maybe 10,000 meals already.
So that's interesting. So they're houseless, not homeless.
Yes, they're houseless.
Yeah, me and a friend of mine up in Oregon who's a sociologist, I don't know, I was having a conversation with her months and months ago, before Occupation even started, and we were actually discussing, that's how that topic came up, where homeless people aren't homeless. Homeless where you lay your head. I mean, you're houseless. The only thing that makes you different than anybody else is you don't have a house. You still sleep the same. You still do everything else. I mean, and calling them homeless is kind of a put down. I mean, in society, it's a negative term word. So even when you are a houseless person and somebody calls you homeless, it makes you feel less of a person. So it puts you down and gives you depression.
This entire housing industry thing is a giant Ponzi scheme, just like the banking system. So it doesn't make sense that people have to slave and work their lives off for 30 years to pay for something that the bank's going to take away from you anyway. in most cases. I mean, we've seen this process happen over and over and over again with the giving and then taking away the equity and those kind of things. But I'd like to morph into something else and maybe come back and revisit that, because we have a lot to cover. We got 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Why did you gentlemen become part of the Occupy movement?
I started the Occupy movement when it first started in San Diego. I was following Occupy Wall Street, but I really didn't think Occupy San Diego would actually become of anything. I've done other activist things here, and it's kind of hard to be an activist in San Diego.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I mean, it's expensive, so people don't have money to just go out and not do work for a couple of days and stuff. But I was home watching, on live stream, I was watching Boston get raided for the first time, and I was watching the brutality against the people. And I'm kind of a patriotic person. I believe my Constitution demands that when I see stuff like that, we take to the streets. Plus, I mean, we saw everything else going wrong. We should have taken the streets years ago. But I finally saw people starting to do it, so I said, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it full force. So when I went to Occupy San Diego on October 12th was my first day. I started on the 7th. Since then, I've ended up forfeiting my job to do Occupy full-time because I believe in it that much. I believe that if we actually do stay dedicated and focused on fixing the issues in America, we actually really have a good chance of doing it this time. I believe that people are actually starting to be heard. I mean, I started because I believe in social economic equality more than anything in this whole world. Without it, we don't have sustainability, and without it, our children's don't have. They won't exist. We're on a path now of destruction in this world. So I just feel like maybe Bob Dylan says it, I guess it must be up to me. And I feel that way a lot of times. It's just up to me to do this. I'm a single white male. Technically speaking, I'm the one that caused my Caucasian. We caused the problem. So I guess it's up to me to fix it too. I really think that we should be the ones out there saying, no, this is wrong. No, louder than anybody. We should come to the intelligence inside to say, no, we got to do something, because money, we can't eat it. It's going to kill our children if we don't keep fixing things. And Occupy, from what I see, really is the best chance that we have to fix these problems. If we fail, failure is not an option. I say it all the time, because if we fail, we won't get another chance.
Well, to clarify further, my saying is that we didn't come here in the same boat, but we're now in the same boat together.
Yeah.
So it's not just any one sector's responsibility to solve the problems. This time it's going by quick. We're down to 10 minutes. I would like for you to tell me why you got involved, sir.
Okay. I got involved because I was paying attention to Occupy Wall Street as well. I'd watch independent media like Democracy Now! And I'd also listen to BBC and the KPBS station here in San Diego. And they would have all these updates about Occupy Wall Street. And I would be intensely interested because they were talking about so much of the same things that I've always been passionate about. Ever since I was 15, when I did my first mission trip with my church to Mexico, I've been very, very intensely interested in the ideas of poverty. That's what I studied at UCSD as well. I'm an international studies major with an emphasis in economics and economic development. It's one of my passions in life. But more recently, I've been listening to more of the issues of poverty here in the United States. Mm-hmm. And I just read about 2-3 weeks ago that 1 in 2 Americans is one paycheck away from living in poverty. Mm-hmm. That's insane to me. That's I don't understand how we in our society can live with that. So that was something I was very, very, very passionate about. Mm-hmm. But how I joined Occupy San Diego, I would pay attention to the Facebook page, and I saw at one point, and this is, I joined on October 14th. That was the night the night before the SDPD came and ripped all the tents away. Mm-hmm. the first time, and I've really been coming there ever since. I just saw a need for somebody who had the kind of passion I had, and I just continued to see my place where I was needed, and I would just be drawn to it. About 2-3 weeks in, we were having trouble with our finances, so I sort of stepped in to help kind of create the finance committee. Before I was part of the education committee, where we would be scheduling teach-ins, and I would be sitting in the seat at our education station in the library, passing out books to people. Like, whoever would want to come and get a book, we'd just be like, all right, here, bring it back when you're done. And I would do the sort of shocking statistics of the day or shocking information about the economic problems that we face in the United States. So I saw my need there, and I've just continued to put myself in places where I see something that needs to be fixed, and I'm just drawn into it.
You gentlemen were arrested, right? Or
I have never been arrested. Chris has been arrested.
I've been arrested a few times now.
Okay, you mentioned something about a mic check with
for the State of the Union address.
Or State of the City.
The State of the City address. Yeah, we had. We actually went over there to actually just watch it to see how bad Jerry Sanders, I won't call him the mayor because the mayor is somebody that actually leads and he doesn't lead, how Jerry Sanders actually was going to lie and tout how great of a person he was. Well, then he opened up his presentation with Hell's Bells, which is an extremely Satanistic song, actually. In a conservative Christian neighborhood, I don't understand where he was thinking there at all. And then he touted all these things during the song of his accomplishments, and they kept flashing photos of a new stadium and a new library and all these things. Well, your homeless population in the city's gone up. I mean, the healthcare in the city it's just gone out of control. The pension scandal that went on here during his term. I mean, he had so many things going on. And one of my friends, Tara, she spontaneously stood up and did a mic check. A mic check in Occupy is when somebody says something and everybody repeats it to amplify the voice. Well, we did a mic check on the mayor of San Diego at his State of the Union address, or State of the City address, and we were subsequently arrested and charged with a felony conspiracy charge, which is kind of crazy because people have mic checked Obama with no arrest and Mitt Romney with no arrest.
What about freedom of speech?
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, if you actually look up In Ray K case in 1968, it was done in the state of California to a candidate who they clapped and cheered, or they clapped and silenced him for 5 to 10 minutes. And at the end of it, that candidate did the right thing, and he came out and said, well, I'm glad we live in a country where freedom of speech is still honored and you're allowed to do that.
Now, we're down to our last minutes, 5 minutes, believe it or not,
Yeah.
less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I need you to concisely make your closing statements to the audience, and then we're going to have to bring you back for another interview, obviously.
Okay. Closing statements. Do you have something up?
Well, my closing statement is, if you're fed up with the system, if you're tired of everything you see that's going on, your unemployment rate's on the rise, poverty. El Cajon, if you live in El Cajon, your poverty's at a 50-year high right now. Get out and do something. Don't just keep sitting on your butt and saying, I'm one person, what can I do? Well, you are one person, and you can do something now because the occupation has started, and you can come out, and your voice is now mixed with the other 99% of the people in this country. And by coming out and saying, I want my country back, I want control of our government, we the people means us and not the corporate America. Citizens United is just a horrible thing. We come on out and support the occupation. We're at the Civic Center. Get in touch with me. We can use all the help we can. Your country needs you. It's your patriotic duty to do it.
Okay.
All right. If you feel that your government has failed you, or that your voice has not been heard, that the people in power just totally ignore you. This is where you come to not be ignored anymore. We plan these direct actions. We plan protests. We plan to do something about it. So if you want to actually do something about it, this is where you come. Downtown at Civic Center, at 3rd and B. That's where we meet. That's where we always are.
At 7.
General Assembly is at 7 o'clock on Sunday through Friday, Saturday at 2, and that's where your voice can be heard.
Okay, and we'll be posting these events on the Community Coalition website from now on. And if you want to get in touch with these gentlemen, please simply visit the Community Coalition website and/or call the number at the end of the broadcast. I'll be very happy to provide you with additional information. I want to thank you very much for joining us on this evening. We ran out of time, and we're going to be having them back in the very near future to have a further discussion about what the Occupy movement is all about and what you can do as American citizens to become active and to make real change here in our country. The wealthy have just gone too far in terms of ignoring our rights, paying for our government, and ignoring the needs of the American people, both young and old. It is ridiculous that we have veterans that are on food stamps, and we have people that are elderly that are afraid about their Medicare, while these other people are taking flights all over the world in their private jets and have no fear of being impoverished or losing their homes. So I'm encouraging you all to become involved with this process and to stand up no matter what you are, Republican, Democrat, black, white, Latino. We should all join together and stand up for our rights, because this is what we have to do to make our community and our country a much better place to live. I want to thank you, gentlemen, once again for joining us. I really appreciate you and your efforts. I applaud you as young people for standing up for what's right. And please come back again and spread the word about my show and our shows in the Community Coalition. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Walter.
Good job.